All right, today we're going to be trying some different chains on the OCS600. This is the mini hog, the small hog, the 3.6 kilowatt Greenworks commercial. So I'm going to use this C83 kind of as a baseline, which is the full chisel 3/8 chain. And then I got this CES83G, which is a semi chisel, and then Oregon's version of both 3/8 semi chisel. Apparently, you cannot get a semi chisel without getting the little cutter guards on them. That's what the G is for. I guess they feel like if you're using semi chisel, you must need a safety chain. So I don't know if that'll make a difference, but we're going to find out. So we'll start with the C83 as our baseline, and then we'll try these two semi chisels and see how they compare cut wise. Because obviously these will need less maintenance, but we'll see how much speed we're giving up versus the full chisel cutter. All right, well, I definitely struggled to get a good cut with the Oregon chain. I could feel it was a bit more grabby. The cutters look smaller to look at. I don't know, but the saw characteristics could play into it because this saw depends on speed and it has very low torque, so it might behave entirely different in a saw like the Milwaukee or the Ryobi or even the OSC800, the HOG saw. So maybe we'll try a different saw. That's what we got for this piece of wood with that OCS600. Okay, we're going to use the same chains on the same log but different saw. See if the results are different. This time the OCS800 HOG saw. All right, so with the OCS600, the full chisel chain had a clear advantage over both semi chisel chains. And this really struggled with the Oregon semi chisel. And it was because this thing was cutting at the peak of its ability. Like it says 20-inch bar and chain on the OCS 600, and they really mean it. That doesn't want to handle any more than that. And running the saw personally, I probably wouldn't. I mean, I might put a 20-inch bar on it, but I wouldn't. You know, if I knew I was going to be cutting a bunch of bigger logs, I'd use a different saw. This really, like, once you get down below 16 inches, this saw is amazing. But when you start getting up 16, 18, the torque becomes more of an issue. It's really relying on speed. And I guess it depends on your cutting style, right? Because time wise, I think this actually cuts faster than most saws, but you really got to let the saw do the work. I mean, you can't dig into it very much at all, or the saw stalls out. Which for me personally, I always tend to want to cut a little more aggressively. So if I'm at the top of it, I would use something that has more torque, which would be the Ryobi, the Milwaukee, or obviously this 800 HOG saw. That being said, this is a great saw, but I'm getting off topic. Full chisel definitely cut better, and that was what you saw was a best of 3 cuts for each of the chains. I didn't put the full chisel on this test with the HOG because I only had enough log left for 2 cuts. And as you saw, because this has a torque, the Oregon actually did slightly better, but they were almost the same for all intents and purposes. It could have been, that could be the 0.3 of a second difference could on a different cut could go different. But that being said, between these two chains on the semi-chisel, the Husqvarna seems to be more well-rounded. Like whether there's not quite enough torque or there's all the torque, it still performs pretty much the same. And as far as full chisel, I did cut that log with this saw with full chisel chain in a different test, and I was in the 11 and change second range. So there's about a 2-second difference, based on other cuts I've done with the HOG saw from going from full chisel to semi chisel. So there's definitely a time difference, but probably long term there's a maintenance difference too. So it just depends on your cutting needs and what kind of cutting you're doing, which is kind of that's already known, but now there's a quantifiable difference, at least for these saws. So if you're looking for that, hopefully that's good, useful information. Keep looking for more videos because I'll definitely be putting out more videos, but things get busy, so I do it as I can. It's kind of a hobby. It's not a profession. I mean, if I made enough money, it could be a profession, but it isn't. It's just a hobby. So I just do it because I like it and it's interesting, and I try to pass that on to other people that are interested. So hopefully that's useful. Like I say, reuseful. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, please click like. That helps me, the channel, and we'll see you soon.